Imagine the year 450 AD. The world is a vastly different place, a tapestry of kingdoms and empires, each vying for power and survival. The Roman Empire, once a beacon of civilization, a symbol of order and grandeur, now trembles on the brink of collapse. Its once mighty legions are but a shadow of their former glory, and the empire's vast territories are fracturing under the weight of internal strife and external threats. The once impregnable walls and fortresses that stood as testaments to Roman engineering genius are now crumbling, their stones whispering tales of past glories and present despair. The streets of ancient cities, once bustling with life and commerce, now echo with the silence of decay. From the east a storm approaches, a whirlwind of destruction led by a man called Attila the Hun. His very name is a harbinger of doom, a symbol of the unstoppable force that threatens to engulf the known world. His name alone strikes terror into the hearts of men. Across the lands, the mere mention of Attila sends shivers down the spines of warriors and civilians alike. He is a figure shrouded in fear and legend, a man whose reputation precedes him in every corner of the empire. He is the Scourge of God, a merciless warrior who leaves only fire and ash in his wake. Villages burn, cities crumble, and the land is left scarred by his relentless campaigns. His warriors, fierce and unyielding, follow him with a loyalty born of both fear and respect. Across Europe, mothers hush their children with whispers of his name. In the quiet of the night, tales of his brutality are told, serving as both warning and bedtime story. The fear of Attila becomes a part of the very fabric of daily life, a constant shadow over the hearts of the people. Tales spread of his brutality, his unyielding ambition, and the sheer might of his Hunnic warriors. These stories, passed from village to village, grow with each telling, painting a picture of an almost mythical figure whose power seems boundless. They are a force unlike any other. These fierce horsemen from the steppes, wielding an almost supernatural power on the battlefield, their speed, their ferocity, and their unorthodox tactics leave their enemies bewildered and broken. Attila's story is not one of glory or honor as Rome might define it. It is a tale of raw power, of a man who defies the conventional notions of heroism and instead carves his legacy through sheer force and fear. It is a tale of relentless conquest, of a king who carved his name into history with the blood of his enemies. His campaigns are marked by their brutality, their efficiency, and their devastating impact on the world around him. This is the story of Attila the Hun, the barbarian king who brought the world's mightiest empire to its knees. His legacy is one of destruction and fear, a testament to the power of a single man to change the course of history. Through fire and blood, Attila's name is etched into the annals of time, a name whispered in terror for generations to come. The Huns, a nomadic people of unmatched equestrian skill, erupted from the steppes of Central Asia. These fierce warriors, known for their unparalleled horsemanship, lived a life of constant movement and battle. Their very existence was intertwined with their horses, which were not just a means of transport, but an extension of their own bodies. The Huns' mastery of horseback riding allowed them to traverse vast distances with incredible speed, making them a formidable force on the battlefield. Their origins shrouded in mystery, they were a nomadic force bound by loyalty and driven by an insatiable hunger for land and plunder. The Huns were a people of the steppes, their lives dictated by the harsh and unforgiving landscape they called home. They moved with the seasons, following the herds that provided their sustenance. This nomadic lifestyle made them resilient and adaptable, able to survive in conditions that would have broken lesser peoples. Their society was built on a foundation of loyalty and kinship, with each member of the tribe bound to the others by ties of blood and honor. By the early 5th century, they had established a fearsome empire across Central Europe. The Huns' conquests were swift and brutal, their armies sweeping across the continent like a storm. They left a trail of destruction in their wake. Cities and villages reduced to ashes, their inhabitants either slain or taken as slaves. The Huns' empire was a patchwork of conquered territories, each one ruled with an iron fist. Their dominance was unquestioned, their power absolute, their tactics were brutal, their archery legendary. The Huns were masters of the bow, their archers capable of hitting a target with deadly accuracy even at full gallop. Their arrows were feared by their enemies, who knew that a single volley could decimate their ranks. The Huns' archery skills were honed from a young age, with boys learning to shoot almost as soon as they could walk. This early training produced warriors of unparalleled skill, each one a deadly marksman. They were masters of the mounted charge, a whirlwind of arrows and flashing blades that could shatter enemy lines in an instant. The Huns' cavalry was the backbone of their army, their charges a terrifying sight to behold. Mounted on their swift and sturdy horses, the Huns would descend upon their enemies with a fury that left no room for escape. Their swords and arrows cut through flesh and bone with ease, their enemies falling before them like wheat before the scythe. The Huns' cavalry tactics were a blend of speed, precision, and sheer brutality, a combination that made them nearly unstoppable on the battlefield. They were a culture bred for war, and in their midst rose a leader who would become the embodiment of their ferocity. The Huns' society was one that valued strength and skill in battle above all else. From a young age, boys were trained to fight, to ride, and to kill. This warrior culture produced leaders of exceptional ability, men who could inspire their followers and strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. Among these leaders, one man stood out above all others, a man whose name would become synonymous with terror and destruction. Attila inherited this brutal legacy. Born into a world of constant conflict, Attila was shaped by the harsh realities of life on the steppes. He grew up in a society where power was seized, not given, and where only the strong survived. Attila's rise to power was marked by bloodshed and betrayal, his path to the throne paved with the bodies of his rivals. But once he had secured his position, he proved to be a leader of unparalleled skill and ambition. He was born into a world where power was seized, not given. From a young age, Attila was taught that strength and cunning were the keys to survival. He learned the art of war from the best warriors in his tribe, honing his skills on horseback and mastering the deadly Hunnic bow. Attila's early years were a crucible of violence and hardship, experiences that forged him into a warrior without equal. He learned the art of war from childhood, honed his skills on horseback, and mastered the deadly Hunnic bow. Attila's training was rigorous and relentless, designed to turn him into a weapon of war. He spent countless hours practicing his archery, his aim becoming more precise with each passing day. His horsemanship was equally impressive, his bond with his horse almost supernatural. By the time he reached adulthood, Attila was a warrior of unmatched skill and ferocity. When his uncle, the Hunnic king, died, the stage was set for Attila and his brother Bleda to claim their birthright. The death of the king created a power vacuum, one that Attila and Bleda were quick to fill. The brothers ruled together for a time, their combined strength making the Huns even more formidable. But the partnership was not to last. Ambition and rivalry soon drove a wedge between them, leading to a deadly confrontation. Theirs would be a reign of terror and conquest, a dark chapter etched in blood and fire. Attila's rule was marked by a series of brutal campaigns, each one more devastating than the last. His armies swept across Europe, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Cities were sacked, villages burned, and countless lives lost. Attila's name became a byword for terror, his legacy one of blood and fire. The Hunnic Empire, under his leadership, reached the height of its power, a testament to the ferocity and skill of its people. In 434 AD, Attila and his brother Bleda assumed leadership of the Huns. Together, they were an unstoppable force. Attila, the cunning strategist and ruthless warrior, and Bleda, known for his political acumen, formed a formidable partnership, their first target the crumbling Eastern Roman Empire. The brothers understood the power of fear. Their raids were swift and merciless, leaving a trail of devastated villages and shattered legions in their wake. The Eastern Roman Emperor, weak and desperate, chose diplomacy over defiance. He agreed to pay a hefty annual tribute to the Huns, a price for peace bought with Roman gold. But Attila's ambition knew no bounds. The tribute, a sign of weakness to the Romans, was merely a stepping stone for the Hunnic king. His greed and lust for power were insatiable, and soon the fragile peace would crumble. The death of his brother Bleda, under mysterious circumstances, only served to solidify Attila's grip on power. He was now the undisputed leader of the Huns, and his eyes were set on a prize far greater than gold. The Huns, under Attila's command, were a fearsome sight. Their cavalry, swift and deadly, could cover vast distances in a short time, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. Attila's leadership was marked by rigorous training and discipline. He ensured that his warriors were always battle-ready, their skills honed to perfection. The camaraderie among the Huns was unparalleled. They celebrated their victories with grand feasts, strengthening their bonds and morale. Attila's strategic mind was always at work. He held councils with his generals, meticulously planning their next moves, always staying one step ahead of their enemies. Meanwhile, the Roman Empire, both Eastern and Western, was a shadow of its former glory. Internal strife, corruption, and constant threats from various barbarian tribes had weakened its foundations. The Roman leadership was in disarray. While some advocated for strengthening their defences, others believed in negotiating with the Huns, hoping to buy more time. The common people lived in constant fear of Hunnic raids. Stories of Attila's ruthlessness spread like wildfire, making him a figure of terror even in distant lands. As Attila's power grew, so did his ambitions. He began to dream of an empire that stretched far beyond the steppes, an empire that would rival even the mightiest civilizations of the past. History had seen many great conquerors, but Attila's name would be etched in the annals of time as one of the most formidable. His vision was not just of conquest, but of domination and legacy. With his brother gone, Attila stood alone at the helm, his resolve stronger than ever. The world would soon witness the full might of the Huns, led by a leader whose ambition knew no bounds. The legacy of Attila and Bleda's iron grip on the Huns would be remembered for centuries, their story a testament to the power of ambition, strategy, and unyielding determination. And so the tale of Attila and Bleda serves as a reminder of the relentless pursuit of power and the indomitable spirit of those who dare to dream beyond their reach. With Bleda gone, Attila's true nature was fully unleashed. He demanded the Eastern Roman Emperor double the annual tribute, a sum that crippled the already struggling empire. The Romans, their legions shattered and their treasury depleted, had little choice but to comply. Attila's reign of terror had truly begun. His raids continued, pushing deeper into Roman territory. The once mighty empire, now a shadow of its former glory, seemed powerless to stop him. Fear gripped the hearts of the citizenry. The Scourge of God had arrived, and his wrath was absolute. But Attila's ambitions went beyond mere plunder. He craved recognition, a place in the annals of history. He saw himself not just as a barbarian king, but as a true emperor, a ruler destined to reshape the world in his image. And so, with the Eastern Roman Empire brought to heel, he turned his gaze westward towards the heart of the crumbling empire. His next target, Gaul.